opportunity to enjoy the break in December. I did. I decided to really study the Columbia Compass and how it correlates with the committee. So I was kind of, those are the kind of things that excite me, this stage of my life. But the first thing I wanted to do was call the meeting to order. I think that Erica is going to take the role via the participant box.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you should have gotten the minutes from the October 11, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Yes. So I move that the minutes be approved as written.
We have a motion by Ms. Bean, and is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Gunnels. And so we're going to approve those by acclamation. Is that okay with you, Ms. Erica?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Because we want to get to the fun stuff. So today I wanted to have city staff to really talk about all the things that the city of Columbia is actually doing, because as some of our discussions were going on, I was like, well, we do some of this, so we don't do that. The first part of our meeting will be with Miss Missy Gentry leading. I think she's going to have some other people. But I do think that as we have this discussion on housing and affordable housing, it is good to know exactly what we are already doing, or if there are things that we've tried that didn't work and we can't do. And so Missy is going to lead that presentation for us. Missy used to be my boss, y'all.
Miss Herbert, you didn't need to say that. So good morning. And I'm really just going to be the intro to the presentation, because as you'll see, with the presentation we're getting ready to do, we have a lot of folks, city staff members, very actively engaged in this topic and working within our communities to make a difference from an affordable housing standpoint. So we're going to start the presentation. I think Charmaine Clark is going to pull it up, and she'll guide us through it as different staff members are speaking as to their responsibilities. So let's let her pull it up. So our topic is everything housing, and we just wanted to walk through. If you'll move to the next slide, Charmaine, and I'll do a brief introduction. We've separated it into corporations and city departments because I think it is very important to recognize there is a distinction. We do have, I'm going to call it 2 development corporations without getting into the weeds of why it's only 2 now. The first would be our commercial arm of the development corporation, and the second listed, the TNDC/CHDC, that's our residential arm. So they're going to speak first. They are not city proper, so it's important to remember they do things a little bit differently. They work alongside the city and very closely with the city, but they also have their own distinct boards that take actions and manage their assets. And so the staff members that you'll hear speak are city staff members, but they do work for a board that's independent of city proper. So I wanted to point that out. And then our actual city departments that will speak will be Planning and Development Services, Office of Business Opportunities, Economic Development, Code Enforcement, and Community Development. And with that, Councilwoman Herbert, I'm going to let Felicia Maloney, who's our Director of CEZ, start the presentation, and we'll just walk through the slides and take questions at the end, if that's okay.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Good morning, Councilwoman Herbert and everyone else on the line. So I am going to be very brief. We only have one residential property, and most people are aware of that if you've been on North Main, and that's the veranda at North Main. So this is what I would call a young, independent senior living. You have to be 55 or older to live at the veranda. This represents, the veranda represents a total of a $10 million investment in the North Main corridor. And truly believe that since that investment has been made, we're starting to see more development along the corridor. It's close proximity to goods, services, transportation. Of course, it's across the street from Hyatt Park. Pretty much they're on site or in the building next door. We have physical therapy. We have a dental office, a podiatry office, and a pharmacy, family pharmacy that's been there in the community for 40 years. So I encourage everyone to utilize the services of the small businesses there on North Main. I've heard often that didn't recognize or realize that the physical therapy company was there, but they've been there for 15 years. And it is a small husband and wife team. The veranda was a 9% low-income housing tax credit project. I was very proud, or our board was proud, that at the time we scored the highest score in the state. I think we had 135. It was the final score. But it's 52 units and 52 affordable units, and 6 of the units are market rate units. And they're broken down as indicated here on the slide. There are 12 affordable at 50% AMI, 40 affordable at 60% AMI, and then there are 6 market rate units. The units on the end are the market rate units. The typical income for people living at the veranda is between $11,000 and $26,900. And on there, I also included the website to the veranda at North Main. So because of the 9% tax credits, this is highly scrutinized with compliance. And there are just a lot of compliance issues to get into the veranda, and maybe not issues, but challenges. So they take people in the order in which they express an interest if they qualify. We have another property that's on Sunset. So I'm just listing the one vacant property that CEZ owns. And it is on Sunset Drive here near the hospital that we have not developed yet. So that is all that I have. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Quick question, do they remain 100% occupied?
They're 98% occupied. That's generally is where we are right now.
Great.
Market rate units are the ones that are not always occupied. The affordable units are always occupied.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Felicia, this is Tina. What's the market rate?
So right now, 50%, the market rate units are right around $975. And those are 2 bedrooms. And that is a picture of the countertop in one, which I wish I had at my house. But anyway, that island is literally 9.5 feet long. And we installed all energy efficient appliances in the units. They're all Energy Star. We installed the refrigerators, the washers, the dryers, the stove. The stove had suppression systems on them, fire suppression systems on them. So we installed all of those ourselves. And and I guess I could say there's also a large community room that residents can rent out, or well, not rent out, but reserved to have family gatherings. There's a gym. There's also a computer room, and there's a game room with a pool table and game tables. So there are some activities on site as well. We squeezed a lot into our 1.35 acres, or as much as we could.
And Felicia, I know we did some tours as y'all were opening. With it being at capacity, I don't know if y'all do tours, but it's a great facility if anybody hasn't been in it. It's really nice and a good addition to North Main.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, look, Charmaine, will you advance the slide and we'll move on to the other corporations?
Hello, my name is Harrison Joseph. Can everybody hear me? I'm the director of TN Development and also Columbia Housing Development Corporation. I'm going to talk to you about TN Development's properties that it has. It has 7 properties. The first of which is Auburn Hill, which is a townhome. It was developed with conventional loans as well as HUD's, CDBG, and home funds. There are currently no vacancies. It's a 2, 3, and 4 bedroom facility, and there are 30 townhomes. The market rate for this property is $1,268 per month. There's nobody paying that rate. Nobody in there is over income. So they pay the listed price for the 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. Burns, we have 3 vacancies. It has 16 apartment units. It is a 2 and 3 bedroom unit. It is 541 for the 2 and 563 for a 3 bedroom. And as you can see, it is below market rate. So all of these, because they were developed with various grants and low interest loans, all of the rents that the tenants pay will be typically below the market. Our third one is Oak Hill. It is an SRO, which is a single room occupancy. It is totally subsidized by HUD's program. So how that one works, if one is homeless and they qualify, we send them to the housing authority. The housing authority approves them. If the unit is approved, then they gain occupancy. The homeless person becomes housed. Right now we have 10 vacancies. We are currently working on those vacancies and partnering with the city's homeless shelter as well as the housing authority to get those filled. Forest Oaks is our second SRO facility. It has no vacancies, and the rents range from $417 to $471. Waters Crest is our newest development. It has 8 townhomes. Again, it has no vacancies. The market rate for that one is $115. I think there's one person that is actually over income and is actually paying the market rate. All others are paying the lesser amount of $267 and $766. Forest Oaks is our elderly development. Again, there is no vacancies. It is 1 and 2 bedroom units, mostly 1 bedroom units. It has 69 units. And it again is a 202, and it is totally funded through HUD. And the way that works is they look at a person's income, they look at 30% of their adjusted income, and they pay what they can afford given that formula, and then HUD pays the remaining amount.
Correction, that's Enza Forest, Harrison.
I said Enza, oh, I'm sorry, I said Forest, what did I say?
Forest Oaks.
Forest Oaks, I'm sorry. So Enza Forest. So yes, are there any questions about the apartments that we have available? So we are currently in possession of a vacant lot, 2314 Pinehurst. The future development is elderly, and there will be approximately 50 units on that site. The only other vacant site that we have is on Belmont. Okay. Okay, the residential lots. So the residential lots, and I'm not going to read this word for word, I'm just going to go over it. The residential lots are typically owned by Columbia Housing Development Corporation. We have roughly 40 of these lots. We are partnering with the city and for-profit to develop a majority of these lots. The city has 2 RFPs out, which encompass probably, I want to say about 10 lots that they're looking at. One is in the Belfield area, and the other one I cannot recall exactly where the other one is.
And I'll chime in, Harrison. It's Belmont, Booker Washington Heights, and the King Lion Street areas.
King Street areas, yes. So they're looking at doing that. They have come in, and the for-profit developer has come in with pricing. The city, along with us, are looking at those pricing to see if they actually will work with the neighborhoods. We think that they will, and that seems to be a very promising way to develop the rest of the properties. Now, how these properties became vacant was the city was given a grant for a neighborhood improvement grant, a NIP grant, and also some CDBG money, and they demolished blighted properties, or I should say the nonprofits demolished these blighted properties and have taken care of them with the hopes of developing them at a later date. It has come time to develop them, and we are looking forward to developing at this time. Are there any questions about the vacant lots?
And Charmaine, if you'll go to the next slide, I think it's just got a big list of a lot of the lots. So.
Yes.
So I think we can proceed on.
I had a quick question. You're in possession of 40. Does the city have more lots that are available other than the 40?
So, and Harrison, I'll take that. So the combination of the corporations and the city, yeah, we have some, but most of the vacant lots are owned by the corporations. So there's probably a handful that the city owns. That the King Lion Street property that's part of the RFP, those are actually city owned. But again, most of the vacant lots that we feel like are within our area of influence with corporations or corporation owned.
So I went over the first 2 items of this one. So I will go down to the third one. And we are currently, the city, the corporations, and the for-profit are currently working together and pooling their resources and able to, again, develop these properties. And we're going to probably use this model over and over again until all of the targeted areas become developed. We will also use the city's loan program, and I think that would be best explained with community development. But they have 3 loan models that they use for potential buyers of affordable single-family homes.
So that was my question, actually. Were these going to be rentals or for purchase? So you just answered that.
They would be for purchase. And the majority of them will probably use the city's loan programs.
And the intent, adjacent to many of the parcels that are included in the RFP and owned by the corporations, there's a lot of churches that have some vacant land in close proximity. Our hope is once we start this model that some other property owners with vacant lots in these distressed communities will follow suit and make their properties available as well. So we will continue to encourage that and work towards that goal.
And Missy, I'll say too that I'm already like working to connect some private developers with churches because they buy the property, but they really have no idea how big of a task that is to actually develop it. So we will be having a bigger meeting too with some of the preachers to try and help give them as much support as we can.
Right. Okay.
If I may also add, Councilwoman Herbert, we too would like to be a part of that conversation. As you all are aware, we do have families that we work with to help them become self-sufficient, and many of them are in fact interested in homeownership. And so there may be an opportunity to partner there so that we can create some additional homeowners through our Section 8 homeownership program.
Okay, and I think that we are, or at least that's a part of the plan, is to work together to use some of the people on your list.
All right.
It is. So one of the things we're hearing from the developers associated with RFPs is we really need to get some folks pre-qualified. So when the home's constructed and we can get a CO, there's a buyer to move into it. So we're working with Columbia Housing, and I'm not the one doing that, Ms. Bean, so I can't tell you who we're working with directly, but
Sure.
I can find that out. But we're working with Columbia Housing, Richland One, as well as City of Columbia employees. So you'll hear that we're planning on bringing some financial counseling services and really working to get a good list of pre-qualified buyers so that we can move these homes fairly quickly and start new homes as soon as they're occupied. So I think it's a great model and look forward to seeing it happen.
It's awesome.
So Charmaine, we can move to the next slide, please.
Morning, Krista Hampton here with Planning and Development Services. Some of y'all may remember this slide. We've updated it, which is the current planned or permitted projects for 22-23. We can provide this for you, but the message here is we have a lot of units coming online here within the next year or so. Around 2,300, a little under 2,000. The one at Columbia, as you note on the bottom, is actually market rate, but it's a lot of units coming online. And so we thought we wanted to include that. Next slide. We also wanted to let you know about the new unified development. It's not quite so new, but it's still newer development ordinance that was passed by City Council and some of its impacts on affordable housing. One of the largest is the ability to have multifamily in greater locations, primarily along our corridors, which we think will hit a number of goals. One is to provide more heads along some of our corridors that are somewhat distressed, taking some of that excess commercial inventory off the books, but then putting people in those locations so that we provide greater demand for the services and retail in those areas. Accessory dwelling units are now permitted in our single family districts with conditions. And finally, City Council has removed or reduced parking requirements in a large number of our mixed use areas. So again, decreasing the requirements for those, especially for affordable housing. And around the country, they've shown that that does actually lead to increased affordability. I'll turn it over.
Oh wait, Krista, can you go back? Accessory dwelling units. Some other people on the Zoom may not know specifically what that means. Can you explain that to them?
Most certainly, yes. Pardon the jargon. A term of art, people like to use granny flats or garage apartments. Those types of units, they can be within a certain size. For these in our single family districts, the front property, the main property does need to be owner occupied, but you can then have a frog, an extra unit above your garage. It can be that you rent it to provide additional funding for your mortgage. So it makes the unit more affordable for you. But then because these units are often smaller, those in themselves are affordable. Also, it can provide housing for caretakers if you need to take care of an aging parent or sometimes a child with special needs. So there's all sorts of terrific ways these can be used.
Thank you for that clarification or explanation.
Good morning. I'm Aisha Driggers with the Office of Business Opportunities. And one of the important considerations when it comes to housing is access to goods and services. So that's where our office comes in. We can offer, through our commercial revolving loan fund, funding to small businesses that are located in the city of Columbia. So not only providing access to those residents, but also it's a way to foster economic development in the community and increase job opportunities. And I've listed a couple of funding projects that we've provided over just the past year. Healthcare facilities, restaurants, retail shops, we've done barbershop salons, all those things that are important to residents when deciding where they want to live. This funding is provided to startups or existing businesses, whether they want to expand or get started in the community. It also helps us address areas of blight. We've been able to fund some projects that were vacant buildings, and now there's a business in there. A barbershop, for example, is now in a previously vacant building. So we're proud of those projects that we have. We also wanted to make mention of a special project as a result of recommendations from our Columbia Food Policy Committee. We identified some challenges related to food access. So currently we have a Food Insecurity Solutions Initiative request for proposal that's out right now. That closes on February 28th. But the idea is we want to work with a local organization or a small business who has a mission to provide healthy, affordable foods directly in neighborhoods. So I think that's just another creative way that the city is trying to address some of the lack of access to healthy food options in some of our communities. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have about our CRLF program or how we assist small businesses. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Coleman. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Columbia. So just to kind of highlight and touch upon some of the economic development incentive programs that we have used to increase some of the housing availability here in the City of Columbia. The city, in partnership with Richland County, for the past few years has had a commercial development program which has been used to help incentivize the development of larger commercial projects. And these are typically mixed use and multifamily style projects. The caveat being that the projects have to meet certain investment thresholds, which has been $30 million of investment and up. I think two of the things that we have kind of come to understand over the past few years is that we have a lot of opportunities to increase density in the Columbia area, closer to downtown, to encourage more vertical growth and to help bring the residential population closer to the city center. We're actually probably at a deficit of the amount of apartments that we offer when we compare to peer cities such as Greenville and Charleston. The other is that we have property tax challenges here in Columbia that have kind of created a bit of an impediment to some of this development that we think would occur naturally in a balanced situation. And so some recent analysis that has been done kind of indicates that we tax probably about 35% higher on property taxes than our peer cities of Greenville and Charleston do. And so this program was really meant to kind of encourage that density and development, but B, to kind of offset some of those issues with the property taxes. And I think it's been pretty good. This started out as a student housing program back in 2014 to 2016. We had about 5 student housing projects that came out of that. And then this most recent project, or the program has run from about 2019, and it just sunset on December 31st of 2022. One of the other projects that came through was the Lofts at Lincoln project, which is now known as the Sawyer on Lincoln. And it is a total project consisting of about 278 units. But the developer did a lot of additional legwork to bring some community amenities to the table. So a lot of safety improvements around some of the rail crossings where they're at over off of Catawba Street. And then also they included a number of income restricted and affordable units. I think 14 units in total, 5 of which for tenants making 50% or less of the AMI, and then 9 units reserved for tenants making 80% or less of the AMI. Again, this program did technically sunset about a month ago. We're having some discussions right now with the county as to what a possible continuation of this program would look like. So there may be some adjustments to the property tax advantage. Previously, it was 50%. We may bring that more in line with where our peer cities are at. And then there's been some discussions as well about the 30 million threshold as to whether that's too high and whether we want to modify that and hopefully maybe make the program a little more inclusive to some other investors and developers as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Ryan, just a quick question. This is Tina. Special source revenue credit, that is for any project over 30 million, not specifically for housing.
Yes, ma'am. So what we've done is we've taken a traditional type of economic development incentive. You typically would see these applied to manufacturing projects. As commercial housing is taxed at a 6% rate, just as other commercial style projects are, we've been able to utilize this normal incentive and apply it to multifamily and mixed use housing as well. So basically anything that's got a commercial use has some degree of application to it. Single family residential is the very obvious exception to that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. David Hatcher with the Code Enforcement Division. I'm in charge of code enforcement here at the City of Columbia, which is in the police department. Code enforcement, we have an important role to ensure that, all housing in the City of Columbia is safe. We serve a lot of times as advocates for especially low-income housing to make sure that their units meet minimum requirements and landlords are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, with the goal to improve the overall quality of life of everyone. Currently, we have 21 inspectors, not filled, but we have 21 positions available. Of those, we have inspectors that do commercial properties. We have some that are enforcing the rental ordinance, some that are enforcing the vacant building ordinance. But we have about 12 that are assigned strictly to deal with residential single and 2 family lots in the City of Columbia. And they're kind of spread out over the different police regions. The primary codes that impact housing, the International Private Maintenance Code, which is generally it's a general code that essentially identifies everything minimally that a property must have or a residence must have to be livable or occupiable. We also enforce the city's rental ordinance. It requires all the rental properties in the City of Columbia to be registered. It also assesses, assigns points and assesses points for rentals that are not maintained up to code, or if there's tenants that are not behaving correctly, they could get points assessed as well. Some of the major complaints that we deal with, overgrowth, grass can't be over 12 inches tall, litter and debris, all yards must be maintained safe and in sanitary condition, abandoned derelict vehicles, any vehicle stored in the City of Columbia must be registered and operable. Front yard parking, a lot of people like to park in the grass area in front of their house. They can't do that. They have to have an improved surface. And then again, the structural violations, which could be anything on the exterior of the building, from peeling paint, broken windows, roof leaks, heating, to everything inside the building too, to include make sure they have heat and running water and electricity. Code enforcement, we also do a lot of demolitions of substandard structures throughout the city. Since in the last 10 years, we've demolished over 200 homes. We have about 50 that we're currently working on in various stages of the demolition process. When we demolish these houses, we do not own them. They generally still belong to the property owners. We can place liens for the cost of demolition on these properties, but we do not own them. For the most part, these lots remain vacant. And the owners were unresponsive prior to demolition, and they continue to be unresponsive after demolition. So we often are stuck maintaining these properties due to the owners not doing so. We can also place liens for any of the work that we do, and we often do that. And we also enforce the vacant build ordinance that requires all the vacant buildings in the city of Columbia to be registered. That's kind of a snapshot of code enforcement. I can answer any questions if there's anything specific that anybody wants to know about.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment that this is an area, as we try to encourage affordable housing, we also have to really make sure that the landlords are taking care of the property or ensuring that the tenants are taking care of their properties, because that, to me, and from what I hear from constituents, is that is what contributes to that negative connotation a lot of times to low income housing. So it makes code enforcement really, really important, but that's just as a last resort. I like that we're talking about doing the education piece with the advocacy committee so that it's not always falling on code enforcement to have to eliminate blight in neighborhoods. It's just a comment, my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Dolly Heron, and I'm the Community Development Administrator. And talking about housing from the administrative and compliance focus, really in community development, we are looking at how we can focus the entitlement funding that we receive and then utilize tools that are available to help focus a strategy for housing as a whole, and particularly affordable housing. So from compliance, we do have we have designated redevelopment areas that have been established. There are 7 currently. So reevaluating perhaps, or just looking at those areas from a LMI perspective and making sure that funding is being utilized for the greatest impact in these development areas. So the 7 are listed there. Also, every 5 years, community development does a consolidated plan. And our next plan for the 25 through 29 fiscal years, that process normally begins in January of 24. However, as we know, because we're talking about affordable housing and housing now, that the process really is starting now as we look and develop a strategy through this committee, as well as all the components that the city has, to look at how we can focus our funding. And that really is a priority for HUD, and how we can do a comprehensive affordable housing strategy to make sure, again, that those funds are targeted and used for the greatest impact. Another area would be exploring the tools that HUD has provided, which is the city's neighborhood revitalization and strategy area. The last designated NRSA was done when the empowerment zone was established. And it is the footprint of the empowerment zone, the original empowerment zone that was done back in 2000, I believe. So we have not assessed or reassessed our area in a long time. And so that is a tool that can be used to help us focus the funding and utilize the information that HUD has provided. And of course, the NRSA really is the groundwork for community growth. And I think, you know, that's what we want here in Columbia, and to make the neighborhoods attractive for investment and ensure the benefits of economic activity remain in the neighborhoods for long-term development. So there's various reasons why this neighborhood strategy can work. And also with HUD funding, you receive waivers that will help you reach your goals. And so that is a impact that these tools can have on our focus on housing comprehensively. So the other areas, I know we have other community development staff online, but this is just a look at the housing portion as well for community development. And I think Dolores is online and we'll go over that for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dolores Shabazz. I'm the Program Manager of Housing for Community Development. And the mission for housing is to provide safe and decent affordable housing in the city of Columbia. One of the tools that we have that we spoke about, you heard about previously, was our loan program. We have 3 loans that we use: the City Lender 1, the City Lender 2, and the Affordable Loan Program. Now, the City Lender 1 and the Affordable Loan Program is focused on providing loans for people that are low to moderate income, 80% or below. And our City Lender 2 is for 81% up to 120% LMI. So what we use those for is to make sure that we can provide a balance so that people who are LMI can afford loans to purchase homes in the city of Columbia. And that is one of our main missions and tools in the housing department. We also do affordable loan development projects. We use home funds, and we release NOFAs, Notice of Funding, and that provides opportunities to work with nonprofit organizations to create affordable development projects in the city of Columbia. We recently released a NOFA, so we're working on that, and we plan to hopefully release another one in the coming future to get another development. We want to focus on rental development as well as home ownership because there's a inventory shortage on affordable rental units in the city of Columbia. We also work with our development corporations to create affordable housing projects. And we've heard from the development corporations previously on the different projects that they've created, and they partner with community development. So in efforts to continue to focus on affordable housing, these are certain strategies that we have. We also have another program called Shine. It's actually a new program that we've developed and we are currently implementing and that stands for Single Family Housing Improvement for Neighborhood Enhancement. And that is to help with rehabilitation of homes in our targeted areas for low to moderate income applicants. Now, the SHINE is a tiered program, which we focus on different levels of repair amounts. We previously had a MAP program, which was called Maintenance Assistance, and there was a cap of $20,000. What we found was when we went into homes to do the inspections and the write-ups, that a lot of the repairs exceeded the $20,000 limit. So we've created a new program to help us help more people and, provide more assistance and rehabilitation, which goes hand in hand with the affordable housing projects that we talk about. When you talk about home ownership and the projects of creating new homes that are affordable, we also want to make sure that the neighborhoods around in the area, those homes are also meet the criteria, and we're able to assist them with the rehabilitation to enhance the neighborhoods as well. Go to the next slide, Charmaine. And I think we talked earlier about the RFP that's out working with the development corporations. And then SHINE, this is a list of all the different tiers that we have in the program to help with the revitalization of homes in our targeted areas. So we had a wait list for MAP that we've been since 2021. So what we've done is we've taken the names off of the MAP list and we've opened up applications to those people on that list. And we asked them to have them back by a certain time so that we can implement those names for MAP into our SHINE program and put them in the correct tier of repairs that they need. Now, Dolly, you want to talk about the CDBG-DR or?
Well, before you go ahead, I just want to make sure it's not lost on the task force members that we get home dollars in and we get CDBG dollars in. And historically, because historically we use those funds to help the development corps and the projects that they do through housing. We ourselves, the city, we don't develop, but so for instance, the things that we saw from TNCHDC, a lot of those, the annual allotments, the annual entitlement dollars that we get, not all, but a lot of it goes to help the development corps. I just want to make sure that was in there.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get a time check from Missy, because we have a start on time, end on time, and it's 11:50. About how many more minutes do y'all have? Hello?
Well, it's only one more slide, which is mine.
And then
I won't take long.
Okay.
What's the next slide? Mine is, hold on a minute. Okay, neighborhood and financial empowerment. I'm Charmaine Clark, the community liaison for community development. And just an overview, because I know we are pressing for time. My division is just to engage the communities when we are funding or talking about affordable housing programs. We would like to get the community involved, coordinate with them to make sure that we hear what ideas that they have or they may not have, or what we can present to them as a department, as a city, pretty much to partner with local agencies like we do now, Operation Hope, for those new home buyers to possibly facilitate home buying courses and credit counseling workshops. And currently we do have our Love Your Block grant, which took over for Action Grant, where we give grants for neighborhoods to get the opportunities to beautify their neighborhoods, whether it's through different projects from aesthetics, neighborhood signs, and things of that nature. So just to piggyback with what Dolly said on the CON plan, Dolores with affordable housing, my part is to keep the neighborhood leaders involved, to coordinate with them, to hear them out as well as to display and advise them on the plans that we have for affordable housing and our consolidated plan.
All right, and the last thing I didn't see that you all do is, and maybe I missed it, but y'all do home buyer workshops.
We do. We have one coming up. Sorry,
I don't think I saw that, but go ahead.
Yes, we do have the all access quarterly workshops that we do that center around credit counseling, home buying, affordable housing, things of that nature. And in April for Community Development Week, or the month of April, Financial Literacy Month, we are going to be doing a workshop on Thursday, April the 20th from 6 to 8 at the Busby Street Community Center. As that time approaches, we will be marketing that event as well. So once we display the information, get it out, we would love for you to display that information, distribute that information to whomever you would like to give that information to. We will have a lot of information, so we always encourage people to come out and get the information.
And this is Dolores. I'm sorry. There was on the slide, there was a piece about the, we will be trying to send out an RFP to work with a HUD certified counseling agency to do quarterly workshops for the citizens because they changed the rule. You have to be a HUD certified agencies to do the workshops and do the counseling. So in the coming fiscal year, we plan to work with an agency to have more of those workshops.
Sounds good. Thank y'all so much. I kind of felt like a lot of the folks didn't know exactly what all we did, well, what all we do. But there are a lot of things that we are doing in affordable housing. And so I hope that the information was helpful. And I want to thank everyone for participating. Y'all did a great job. Missy, do you have any closing comments before we do? I'm going to try for our committee chairs, maybe 5-minute update from your committee reports.
And I don't, Starber, and for sake of time, but if there's any questions, folks later can submit them to us and we'll try to address them.
All right, thank y'all so much. So we are now going to go to the committee reports. And if y'all have questions, you can send them to me or Erica too. Next is advocacy. Can we close down the PowerPoint advocacy committee report by Dylan Gunnels? Is Dylan still here?
I'm here.
Okay.
I do not have much to report though, so I'll fall into your 5-minute lane just fine.
Dylan, hold on 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Can we close out the PowerPoint? Thank you. So I can see faces again. Thank you. Go ahead, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Awesome. I will try to stand still here. I don't have too much to report, so I'll fall into your 5-minute lane. I think there was some confusion last meeting, and then calendar invites got sent separately. And so I think some of us ended up in like the joint committee, and then some of us ended up in the advocacy committee. So by the time we got there, time was already there and we were in the time that we were supposed to meet. So the few of us kind of just gathered and talked about what we were working on. But we've really got to re-collaborate as a committee and hear from everybody that was supposed to be in the room. But I will say that I do know that folks were still working on their educational pieces. And then Jeff Armstrong and I met to start working on the pieces of the, I don't know what we're calling it. We're actually researching now to see if technology already exists. but trying to coordinate our efforts and cross reference and give the resources across multiple organizations related to housing. So Jeff and I are working on that, and I know Sue and Ms. Bean were working on things on their end too. So we just had some miscommunication on the meeting, so we'll recalibrate. But we are working on things. So I just need to get you an update on where we are.
Okay, that's a great report, Dylan. I do want to add to that. I've been working with city staff on the campaign to change the face of affordable housing. And so I will circle back with Ms. Bean and Ms. Berkowitz on what we've come up with and kind of get some input on that, because we plan to launch that in April along with Fair Housing Month. I think that's it for that. All right, and then Dr. Lila Ann. Sorry.
It's fine. Nobody remembers that part. Thank you. And Ward, are you still out there, or have you already?
I am still here. I'm still here. I'm
going to hand it off to you since we technically are co-chairs, and you actually were present for the last meeting, and I was not. I'm looking at the minutes though, so I'm going to toss it to you real quick.
Great. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Yeah, really, you know, pardon me, I'm driving, but just recapping the Cliff Notes from last meeting, you know, really we convened and determined that, you know, we needed to really see the menu of tools that were available to affordable housing developers so that we can actually fulfill the city's goal of the, of actually needing to meet the 7,000 some odd affordable housing units within the city. So that was a good start. The other area that we explored was the strategizing a potential fund for affordable housing, working on just the timeline and strategy of how that would be pulled together. And there's a third thing. If there's, I do know I'm missing something. If anybody was on that call or has the agenda in front of them, if they could nudge me, that would be very helpful.
The three that I have is the raise the capital, identify underutilized land, which I think Gregory was going to actually look at a map, and then gain access to the city resources, which I think today was an incredible start. Thank you so much to the city staff for that presentation. As far as what is being offered by way of resources with the city. So those were the three. And I do have what we are calling the minutes that I will get out to our committee. That sound right, Mr. Mungo?
That sounds correct. I appreciate it. And I do have to run. And if there's one thing
Well, before you go, I just wanted to say that I have been approached by at least one person in the legislature who is interested in an affordable, in a trust fund. So I just wanted, we don't have one yet as such, but there are people interested on a level higher than me. So that always sounds good.
Would be very interested to see how that would pan out. So I appreciate the insight there, and I look forward to continuing that discussion with the councilwoman.
Sounds good.
Any questions regarding our last meeting before I run? Hearing none, one question I have for you all. Is there any way that the distribution for this call could be could receive the deck from today's presentation?
Yes, Ms. Moore, can we make sure to send the PowerPoint out?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
And Councilwoman Herbert, if I may ask for one last privilege, I would like to share with the group on the 23rd at 10:30. We will be holding a press conference with the United Way at the location of the Grand Motel on Two Notch at 10:30 in the morning to announce a very special affordable housing project that we have been working on for over a year now. So if anyone can join us, we will get the official invitation out to everyone between now and then. It has not been designed yet, but 10:30 on the 23rd, and that will bring 40 units of housing to the city. So mark your calendars.
Anybody not familiar with the Grand Motel?
The Grand Motel.
It is worth looking into.
It is, and the sign will be incorporated into the design, but it will not stay where it is. So
thank y'all for that report. I think we have one other quick note from Miss Shayla Riley. And so Shayla made a transition and we didn't have her, we didn't have the updated email address. So we have missed, look, me and Erica, we talked about it, but happy to have you back. And you had an announcement as well.
Yes. So in case everybody is not aware, I have partnered with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Miller's Real Estate, to be the president of new construction and land development for them. My initiative is called Raising Columbia SC. You can visit our website at raisingcolumbiasc.com. It's mainly based in talent retention because there's a middle market that's missing in housing here. Meaning if you have a student that has graduated from law school and they're making their wonderful $80,000 entry-level job, they can no longer afford Columbia. So affordability is changing here, and affordability is also time. I think we all realize the value of time during COVID when we could not spend time with our family members due to distance. And that also caused a mass migration back to South Carolina I know two of my friends personally moved closer to be back with their family, but ended up having to live with their family because they could not afford housing here. So affordable housing has a different look. It has a different face. It now looks like a 25-year-old to 35-year-old professional who is technically by some definition homeless because they are forced to live with family members because they can't find housing here. So we have a vertical development initiative that's there so that we can create condos and townhouses in the city center. That also means around the surrounding areas in Noma, Seco, Wico, whatever district you want to name, so that we can maintain our talent here. We have not just one university, people seem to forget. We have 5 total schools here in Columbia. And that's a huge part of that demographic and population in support of small businesses. I jokingly say most of our small businesses are more successful than the chain restaurants here and chain retail, just because our local constituents support us so much. So it's important to stay local. We are locally owned, we're minority owned, and we are also women owned. So we are looking forward to working with the city as well as the Columbia Economic Development Department to create that middle housing for our young professionals and talented professionals. I don't want to say young anymore because I just turned 40 last week, but talented professionals. I just made the move downtown and it's the best decision I ever made. So I just want to continue that. And I don't want to be the land of the rentals. So we want to make sure that people have home ownership opportunities that doesn't just look like a single family home.
What was that website again, Shayla? Excuse me.
Raising Columbia SC. Raising, and I was born and raised from here. That's where and then my partner, Andrea Reynolds, she also was born and raised from here. So locally owned, women owned, minority run, trying to make sure that we have fair and equitable housing and sustainable housing as well as affordable, so that way we don't face those things where we have all these apartment complexes. It's going to be hard to create stability in our market. So we definitely want the opportunity for young people to build equity, even if it's just 1,100 square feet and 2-bedroom, 1-bath to start. They're still building equity and they can still build a family and build roots here in Columbia. And I think that will also change what will be the landscape for what we look like. And I think we should be a part of the conversation. I don't think we should have the conversation just always be started by outside developers from Greenville, Charleston, or wherever they're from. We should have those conversations here.
Well, Ms. Riley, as the mother of a 28-year-old young lawyer who has been trying to find a house. And we just found something because, well, she's not homeless. She's living here in my house. So she's not homeless. But I totally get it. You know, I really totally get it. And the struggles that she had trying to find something at an appropriate price point. Because again, you know, my thing is when you go, I want you to be able to stay, you know, so we're not going to buy too much, you know, and strain. But so young professionals, that is absolutely an area that we need to focus on so that we can keep our young talent here. So I appreciate that. Any other announcements for the good of the group? All right, y'all, we still pulled it off. It's 12:07. Thank you all so much. And I will get with Yvonne and Susan for sure. And there may be some other people I need to get with too. All righty, thank y'all so much. Thank you, city staff. I really appreciate you all. Great presentation today.
Great presentation. Thank you all so much. Thanks, Councilwoman Herbert, for doing this.
Oh, thank you.